In today's intermediate grammar lesson, we're going to look at future continuous and future perfect. Hello and welcome to another video. My name's Alex. In today's lesson, we're going to look at two tenses that intermediate students often confuse: future continuous and future perfect. Before we dive into the lesson, please remember that you can find out information about my upcoming lessons on my website, learnenglishwithalex.com, and also in my Facebook group, Learn English with Alex. Okay, so to start looking at these tenses, I want to imagine a situation, to imagine a scenario. So you're going on holiday, imagine, that seems like a dream just now, but you're going on holiday and you're at the airport. So I want you to think about two times. I want you to think about half an hour from now and 3 hours from now, okay? So we could say half an hour from now, you will be sitting on the plane. Half an hour from now, you'll be sitting on the plane. Or you could say 3 hours from now, you will have landed. You will have landed. So half an hour from now, at that exact moment, you will be sitting on the plane. That's future continuous. And 3 hours from now, you will have landed. That's future perfect. Okay, let's look at these structures with some timelines to help us understand what they mean. Okay, so let's start by looking at this timeline for future continuous. So in the timeline, you can see you've got past, present, and future. And then you've got this red semicircle going into the future. Okay, so you can see this is an activity which is longer. It's a continuous activity, like continuous tenses are. And we think about one point in this activity. So let's say in the middle of that is, like in our example sentence, half an hour from now. So in the middle of this semicircle, we'll say at this point, half an hour from now, you'll be sitting on the plane, like in our example from the scenario. So we're thinking about something that will be happening at an exact point in the future, and it will be in the middle of an activity, like it will be in the middle of this red semicircle. Also, with this diagram, we can see the structure of it. So it's will plus be plus the present participle, which means ing. Yeah, so it'd be will plus be plus ing. Our example was, you will be sitting on the plane. Okay, and let's compare this with our timeline for future perfect. So we see we have an X in there, that's when something happened, but actually the time we're talking about is beyond that. So let's say it's the end of where it says future. That's the time we're talking about. In our example sentence, 3 hours from now. So we can see that the X, the event, happened at some point before that. So the X in our example sentence is when you landed. But 3 hours from now is the furthest point of the future, because that's the point we're talking about. So 3 hours from now, furthest point in the future on the timeline, you will have landed. You will have landed is the X. So we know it's before that point, and at some point between now and that point, 3 hours from now, but we don't know when. That's why we've got the little arrows going each side, because at some point in there, before 3 hours from now, you will have landed. Let's focus on future continuous. Okay, so will plus be plus ing. I will be doing something. So this means that I will be in the middle of something at a particular time in the future. Remember, quite often we contract will to apostrophe ll as well. I will be doing something. I will be in the middle of it at an exact time in the future. So let's look at some examples of this. At 7:30 this evening, we'll be having dinner. At 7:30 this evening, we'll be having dinner. So this means at 7:30, at that exact time, we will be in the middle of dinner. So we started it before that. We don't know when, it's not important. But what's important is we're focusing on what will be happening at that exact time. We'll be having dinner. Another example could be, this time tomorrow, I'll be driving to work. So I want to think about this exact time tomorrow. What will I be doing? I'll be driving to work. Our third example for future continuous, we could say later in this lesson, I'll also be talking about future perfect. So later in this lesson, so this is, you say an exact point is a point in the future. Here later on, later in this lesson, I'll also be talking about future perfect. Okay, and let's compare that with future perfect, since that's what we're going on to talk about. I will have done something means that something will be complete before a time in the future. So we've got a time in the future and we're thinking about before that point. As often with perfect tenses, we're thinking about before a point. Present perfect is before now. Past perfect is before a point in the past. And future perfect is before a point in the future. I have a lesson on the perfect aspect if you're interested in finding out about it. So, some examples for future perfect. By 8 o'clock this evening, we'll have finished dinner. So we said at 7:30 this evening, we'll be having dinner, but by 8 this evening, we'll have finished dinner to compare. So we're thinking about at 7:30, but by, so in the meaning of before 8, we'll have finished dinner. We'll have finished dinner. Notice the have sometimes sounds like it's a little bit contracted as well. Another example would be, by 5 o'clock tomorrow, I'll have finished work. By 5 o'clock tomorrow, I'll have finished work. So we know it's before 5 o'clock, at some point before that, I'll have finished work. This time tomorrow, I'll be driving to work at that time, but before 5 o'clock, by 5 o'clock, I'll have finished work. Okay, and the last example to compare with future continuous. By the end of the lesson, we'll have spoken about future continuous and future perfect. So I said later in this lesson, I will be talking about future perfect, but by the end of the lesson, going back the way, we'll have spoken about future continuous and future perfect, and you'll be using them no problem at all. Okay, and let's look at a sentence with both of these structures together so that we can further understand how they work. Our example sentence is, she'll be speaking to her boss at 3 this afternoon, so give her a call around 4 to make sure she'll have finished by then. She'll be speaking to her boss at 3 this afternoon, so give her a call around 4 to make sure she'll have finished by then. So we've got future continuous here. She'll be speaking to her boss at 3 at that time, and she'll have finished by then 4 o'clock. So we say she will be speaking to her boss at 3, so she'll have finished by 4. So we can compare at 3 and by 4 going back the way. Okay, so I'd like you to try to practice what we've been talking about in the lesson today, and I'm going to give you 2 different scenarios. I'd like you to try to make some example sentences and put them in the comments below. I'll correct them for you. Okay, so I want you to think about what you'll be doing at 7 this evening. What will you be doing at 7 this evening? For example, I could say, I'll be making dinner, or I'll be taking the dog for a walk at 7 this evening. I'll be making dinner, I'll be taking the dog for a walk. What will you be doing? Put a sentence in the comments. Also, I'd like you to think about what you'll have done by this time next year. Think about what you'll have done by this time next year. For example, I could say, I'll have made another 100 YouTube videos. I'll have made another 100 YouTube videos. Or I could say, I'll have found a new job. So by this time next year, at some point between now and then, and it happened before this time next year. So write 2 example sentences, put them in the comments, and I'll correct them for you. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Please remember to like and subscribe. Also follow me on social media, join my Facebook group, Learn English with Alex, and remember to check out my live lessons, which just now are happening every Wednesday at 10:30 UK time. You can find information on them on my social media and on my website as well. Thanks again for watching, and have a nice day.